Here is 24 years worth of marketing advice that if you get this right, you're going to do very, very well. But if you get this wrong, you're going to do very, very badly. My name is Dan Brock, the Deadbeat Super Affiliate. I've been making money online since the year 2000, and I've earned millions in profit. This is what I wish I knew when I first started out. So the first thing is that the best product that you can create or promote is something that solves the customer's issue with a push of the button or like a swallow. So a magic pill that someone can take. So essentially what the customer wants is they want to take their money, hand it to you, and you solve their problem for them. What they don't want to do is give you their money, and then they have to do all this stuff in between to eventually have their problem solved. So that's why done for you typically does really well, because it's just as simple as they give you the money and then they get the solution to the problem. So to give you a war story, the best software that I ever created and promoted was a Amazon tool where all the customer had to do was take their code, paste it into the tool, and that tool would show up on their website and then display all these best deals on Amazon. And that sold so well. It was really easy to sell. I didn't really have to do anything but be like, here's the product, here's what it does, and all you have to do is paste the code in. On the other hand, on the flip side, the worst product I ever created was the software tool where it solved a really good problem, but they had to do all this stuff. They had to like configure the tool, make it look good on the site, have a display. It was the hardest thing possible to promote. So done for you does really well. You want to think in that terms. In fact, if you put all your energy into thinking in that way, rather than how you can do all this advanced ornate copywriting, you're going to just do so much better that way. The second thing is, I wish I knew this earlier on, is that the magic is in the follow-up. I cannot overstate the importance of this. This is why I keep making videos about this. So I had a webinar that I promoted in 2019, and when I did that, I didn't really understand how important the follow-up was. So the webinar was making about 50% of the money back on the first day, and now looking back from a more experienced perspective, that was a win. But at the time, I didn't understand it was a win, because I was like, okay, it's only making about 50% of the money back the first day. I guess people don't want the product. But the thing is that people will continue to buy that product for a year or even 2 years later. So if you build out your follow-up sequence to continually promote that product over a long period of time, you're eventually going to convert that person in a way that you wouldn't be able to on the first day. The third point is, I can't remember what that is. Okay, so the third point is start with free. So there is actually a big gap between when someone first meets you and they give you money. And what a lot of people, especially beginner marketers, and something I did a lot, was I expected people to buy right off the bat. And there is always 1% of buyers that will buy off the bat. But by giving away something for free, you're able to bridge that gap much better. So instead of just getting 1 or 2, you can get maybe 5% of the customers over time. And again, this ties in with the follow-up, but giving a free sample, in other words, is a good way to bridge that gap between just knowing you and giving you money. There's a big spot in there, that free item or that free giveaway. And the next thing is, this is a little bit more advanced, but it's something to think about earlier on, is that when you create a product, try to think about ways to avoid adding elements to that product that increase drag or increase the amount of input that you have to do to deliver on that product. The ideal situation is when you create a product, like you create it once and you never have to do anything for it ever again. Now that is obviously like a unicorn, and that's something everyone's trying to do. But the point I'm trying to convey to you is that if you put thought into how to create your product in a way, essentially make it evergreen or as evergreen as possible, it's going to be a lot easier for you to scale your business, because once that's done, then you could just focus on getting sales and put all of your energy into getting more customers into the business. So that's something you should focus on more. The next piece of advice is that try to think from the customer's perspective of what is their risk. So subconsciously, whenever you buy something, there's an element of risk that you may not really realize that's going on, that you're calculating in the back of your head. So try to think of ways that you can reverse that risk. A lot of the times it's just as simple as a really nice money back guarantee. If you're able to get rid of the risk, so basically people are looking at what can I get and what is my risk? If you're able to just have them focus on what they receive and no thought on what the risk is, it's gonna be so much easier for you to sell and make conversions. So whether you're an affiliate or you're a product creator, think about ways you can remove the risk from the customer. The next thing is that authority and celebrity has immense power. So celebrity endorsements, for example, can take what is normally a commoditized product and make it something that is almost irreplaceable. Just having a celebrity endorse this product. So looking back on my own career, I had a web hosting company. It was like one of the first companies I created. And I had a celebrity in the space, was a tech celebrity, recommend the service. And I cannot tell you how, it was a night and day difference. I went from being able to charge $5 a month to $15 a month, and it was still getting more sales as the price was increasing. It was all because I had a celebrity endorsement. It was so valuable. So think about how you can do that. Or on the flip side, how can you increase your authority when you're selling your own products? So maybe you could jump up on stage or get some press. So maybe like an interview from a news outlet or something like that. Some way to increase your overall status. This is going to make a world of difference. Like this, doing this is going to do better than any copywriting could possibly do. So think about ways how you can do that. The next thing is that the more outlandish your claim or headline is, the better off that you're going to do. So instead of thinking like posh, polished, and sophisticated, think more like tabloid, like celebrity gossip tabloid. Even the most sophisticated buyer responds to like the most trashy, hypey, dramatic headlines out there. So again, think of National Enquirer and not like, I don't know, I can't think of like off the top of my head, like a nice like polished magazine. The next thing is never go after the cheap market. I cannot tell you the amount of frustration, time that I've wasted trying to be the cheap provider. So a lot of people, when they start off, they're like, how can I be the lowest cost provider? Because that's going to get me the highest volume of customers. The problem is that the cheap market is the most needy. They're the hardest customers to deal with. And that because you're getting more volume, that means more stress for you. So essentially, the more customers you have to deal with, the more it's going to take from you to actually service those customers, and they're harder to deal with. So on the flip side, the premium market, because they're more value focused and not price focused, they're typically easier to deal with. They value you more. And because it's usually less and you can make the same amount of money, if not more, it's a better lifestyle as a business owner. So that's one of my regrets earlier on, is that if I could change it, I would never be the cheap provider. In real terms, the cheap provider is usually the one that goes out of business. So if I could fix something, that'd be the one thing that I would fix going back. The next thing is that traffic sources dry up, but products themselves or the service that you're offering tends to last a lot longer than you think it will. So going back to my web hosting company, I thought within like the first year or two that like web hosting was going to be obsolete, but it's still a thriving industry and still growing to this day. Yeah, it's evolved and adapted, and maybe like the traffic source that worked back then dried up, but the product itself lasts a lot longer than you think it will, and there's an audience that's much bigger than you think it is. Whatever you think the addressable market is, it's usually like 20 times the size, because it's really hard to comprehend the overall size and the scale of what's really out there. What I'm going at with this is, if you have a winning product, hit it over and over again. Don't try to create something new. This is one of the flaws that I've had. Is like I've had many winners and I milk it to an extent, but I underestimate how big the market is, and I usually create something new thinking that's what I need to do. In other words, what I really need to do is double down and keep promoting that product. And by the way, this is a problem common amongst us entrepreneurs. Like, we always want to do something new. It might just be like ADHD or something, that thrill of creating something new. This is not like an uncommon problem. This happens to everyone I talk to. I think the more experienced you become, the more you understand it's better to just do the boring thing, double down, keep selling the thing that already works. The next thing that I learned is that people are willing to pay exponentially more on something they think is specifically for them. So think like a creatine drink. It doesn't matter if the ingredients in the bottle are exactly the same. Like, I'm talking like milliliter for milliliter. We're talking just like a creatine drink. It doesn't matter if it's the same exact ingredients. If you take a creatine drink versus a creatine drink for, let's just say, like video gamers, the creatine drink for video gamers is going to be easier to sell. You're going to get a better premium, and it's going to resonate with the market much better, even though it is milliliter for milliliter, the exact same product. So try to be specific with the products that you create or market. The next piece of advice is always invest in packaging. I've never lost money investing into package design. The thing that the customer receives, if the packaging is basically what they're paying for. So it doesn't hurt. It's always a good investment to invest in packaging. Looking back on my own business, the best investments I ever made was good quality packaging. Even if it's an info product, you want your package, the visual of what they receive, to look very, very nice. The next piece of advice is it's a lot easier to develop an audience starting off narrow and expanding from there. So I have seen some exceptions, like, let's just thinking off the top of my head, off the make money online niche, for example, like Tai Lopez started off very broad. And because of that, he was able to crack the code. but this is a rare, I can't believe I'm talking about Ty Lopez right now, but this is a rare exception. Usually for 9 times out of 10, or even 99 times out of 100, you're going to be much better off just picking a very small audience that you can build off of and expand from there. Because when you resonate with somebody, it's easier to build from there. The next thing is, and this is my own personal weakness that this time around I'm going to try to solve, is that the more you publish content with both consistently and volume, the better off you're going to be. All right, you can try the precision game like a Tomahawk cruise missile, but you're going to usually always win with volume and volume over time, because you're able to get better and improve in a way that if you're precise, it's just, there's too much luck involved with that, or you can't really think your way to success. I've seen it happen, but it's really, marketing's won in the volume game, at least in this day and age. And if I could go back in time, I would be a lot more consistent, and the volume I would increase much more. Something I'm going to try to improve a lot this time around. The next piece of advice is every piece of content, every piece of communication that you have with your audience should have some form of call to action, ideally something that you want them to eventually lead to a sale. Now, you don't want to overdo this because no one wants to be pitched to all the time, but if you figure out ways you can do this in creative and fun ways, your audience will allow you to pitch a lot more than you think. Okay, so at minimum, excuse me, I have a bit of a cold. At minimum, it should be that they watch more content or consume more of what you have to create. But ideally, it's to buy something. Okay, so over time, to buy what you have to offer. Like, this is not a charity. We're not out here spending all this time creating content and trying to deliver and create all these affiliate sites as a charity. Like, you want to get paid. That's going to motivate you more than anything else out there. So eventually you want to have every piece of communication, whether it be an email, even a support reply, lead to maybe jumping on a call or doing a webinar or buying something, or at least sharing some way that you can improve your overall money that you make with your business. Okay? It's a business. You have to think in those terms. Another piece of advice is something I wish I did learn earlier on, but the more fancy your page looks, the more design elements you add to a page or a video generally, the worse off it's going to be. Design elements are distracting, and this excludes package design. I'm talking like the way your website looks. You basically want it to be as simple as possible, not a lot of flashy stuff. Just get directly to what the message is. The words are what sell, okay? It's not like fancy looking stuff. Fancy looking stuff distracts, okay? That's what I found. Yeah, there was always an exception, but you want to go with the rule and not the exception. I can think every time that I've invested some money in web design, I can think right now off the top of my head, ClickBank product that I spent close to like $10,000 designing the actual sales page, like the graphic design. It was the worst converting thing I've ever produced. Looked really nice. It just didn't really convert. The next rule is that the more time that you spend with someone, the more likely they are to buy. So when people invest their time in you, that's the same as investing money. So just think about ways that you can, and it has to be valuable. Like when someone spends time with you, it has to be valuable in return. But what I found is that the more someone commits time to you, the more likely they will be in the long run to buy from you, because time equals money. So when they invest their time, it eventually leads to money. Last but not least, simplicity is king. I cannot overstate the importance of this. The more simplified your business is, the better off you're going to be. So the least amount of products you have, and instead taking that energy and devoting it into like making the best one product you can possibly be, maxing that out first before you get into something else, or having only one traffic channel, mastering that before you get into multiple channels. Simplicity is the way that you want to go about it. You get better at that one thing, and the stress is the same as money. No, that's what I'm trying to say. Stress is a currency, and you want to basically monitor your stress levels, because that's going to cause stress will make you make mistakes and burn out and lose interest in your business. So always think of ways of reducing stress, and simplicity is one way to go about that. Now, YouTube is the best way to get customers, whether you're an affiliate or a product creator. Having that time spent with people watching your content, YouTube is where you want to go. The thing is, though, YouTube has changed a lot. So I created a video called I Tried Reviving a Dead YouTube Channel in 30 Days. Watch this video right now if you're interested in learning what works on YouTube right now. This is what works. So you should click this link and watch that. I think you're going to get a lot of value from it. It's Dan Brock, the Deadbeat Super Affiliate. It's time for me to go take a nap.